The car was named Pearl, not because it was shiny. It was a 2004 Saturn Vue. It was white, but the white was old now. It was the color of a tired cloud on a gray day. Kayla Dee had driven this car for so many years. It was her first car, her only car. It felt like a part of her story. On April 27, 2026, she knew it was the last day, the last drive, the last time she would turn the key and hear its familiar loud engine start. This car had seen so much of her life. It was hard to say goodbye. Inside, the car was full of memories. A small scratch on the dashboard from her dog, Buster. A faint coffee stain on the passenger seat from a hurried morning. The smell was a mix of old air fresheners and years of life. She ran her hand over the steering wheel. It was worn smooth in the places her hands always rested. This car took her to college. It took her to her first job. It carried her friends on long summer nights. Each little noise and every bump in the road was a familiar feeling. It was a comfortable, known world. Kayla decided to take Pearl for one last drive. She drove through her town, past the park where she learned to drive, past the movie theater she visited on weekends, past the houses of her friends. Each street held a memory with the Saturn Vue. It was like watching a movie of her past. She felt a lump in her throat. This was more than just a car. It was a time machine filled with her youth. It was a safe metal box that had protected her through all kinds of weather, both outside and inside her own heart. She parked it one last time in her driveway. As the sun began to set, she cleaned out the car. She found old receipts and a lost earring. She found a pen that had stopped working years ago. Each item was a small piece of a bigger puzzle. The puzzle of her life in this car. She took a deep breath and patted the dashboard. "Thank you," she whispered to the empty car. It felt silly, but it also felt right. Saying goodbye to Pearl was like saying goodbye to a part of herself. A part she knew she would miss, even as she looked forward to what was coming next. The old car was quiet now, waiting for its story to end. The decision to get a new car was not easy. Pearl was getting old. The repairs were becoming more frequent and more expensive. Every strange noise made Kayla nervous. She knew it was time for a change. It was a practical decision, a smart decision, but her heart felt heavy. She spent weeks looking at new cars. She read reviews online. She talked to her friends. She wanted something safe, something modern, something that represented the person she was becoming, not the person she used to be. It was a big step. She finally chose the 2026 Hyundai loniq 5. It was an electric car, so different from her old Saturn Vue. The idea was exciting and a little scary. No more stopping for gas. Just a quiet, smooth ride. The future. She saw pictures of it online. It was silver and looked like a car from a science fiction movie. It was sleek and clean and new. The thought of driving it made her feel a mix of things. She felt like a grown-up making a big, important choice. But she also felt like a kid about to get a brand new toy. The night before she picked up the new car, Kayla couldn't sleep very well. She kept thinking about the loniq 5. What would it feel like to drive? Would she be able to figure out all the new buttons and screens? Her Saturn Vue had a simple radio with a knob. This new car had a giant touchscreen. It was a leap into a new world of technology. She was worried she might miss the simplicity of her old car, the familiar way everything worked. Change was exciting, but it was also filled with so many unknowns. On the morning of April 28, 2026, she felt a buzz of nervous energy. This was the day, a new beginning. She looked out the window at the empty space where Pearl used to be. It felt strange. The old chapter was officially over. Now, a new one was about to begin. She got ready to go to the dealership. She felt like she was on the edge of something big. It wasn't just about a car. It was about moving forward. It was about embracing the future and letting go of the comfort of the past. She was ready, she thought. The dealership was bright and smelled like new plastic. And there it was, the silver 2026 Hyundai loniq 5. It was even more beautiful than in the pictures. It gleamed under the showroom lights. It didn't look like a car. It looked like a spaceship. Kayla walked around it slowly. She touched the smooth, cool metal. There were no dings, no scratches, no history. It was a blank slate. Her blank slate. A man from the dealership handed her the key. It wasn't a key with teeth. It was a smooth, flat remote, a small piece of the future in her hand. Getting into the driver's seat was a strange experience. Everything was so clean and new. The seats hugged her. The dashboard was a giant black screen. There were very few buttons. She put her foot on the brake and pushed the power button. There was no roar, no engine sound. The screens just lit up with bright colors and welcoming chimes. It was completely silent. She looked at the salesman. "Is it on?" she asked. He smiled and nodded. The silence was the most shocking thing. Her old car announced its presence. This one just was. The salesman showed her how to use the screen, how to change the music, how to see the navigation map. It was a lot to take in. Her mind was spinning with new information. She felt a little overwhelmed, but also amazed. She could talk to the car, tell it to turn on the heat. It was like having a conversation with her vehicle. She put the car in drive. The gear selector was a little stalk by the steering wheel, not a big lever in the middle. Every single thing was different. It was a completely new language of driving. Finally, it was time to leave the dealership. She pulled out onto the road. The car moved forward in that strange, powerful silence. It was so smooth. There were no vibrations, no rumbles, just a quiet whoosh as it glided over the pavement. She felt like she was floating. She checked the mirrors. She gripped the steering wheel. Her heart was beating fast. This was her car now, this silent silver spaceship. It was the first moment of a new journey, the first mile of thousands to come. It was day one. Driving the Ioniq 5 on that first day was an adventure. Kayla noticed things she never had before. Without the loud engine noise of her old Saturn, she could hear the world outside. She heard birds singing. She heard the faint sound of the wind. She heard the quiet hum of her own tires on the road. The world seemed more vivid, more present. The car's big windows and high seating position gave her a panoramic view of the street. It felt like she was seeing her own town for the very first time, in high definition. She drove to the grocery store, a simple everyday task, but it felt completely new. Parking was different. A camera showed her a 360-degree view around the car on the big screen. She could see every line and every curb. It made parking feel like a video game. People in the parking lot stopped and looked at the car. It was new. It was different. She felt a little bit proud. This was her car, her choice. It felt good to be in something so modern and so forward-thinking. It felt like she was part of the future. Later that afternoon, she drove on the highway. She tested the car's acceleration. It was instant and quiet. The car surged forward with a gentle push. It was powerful, but in a calm, controlled way. Not like the angry roar of a gas engine. It was a new kind of power, a quiet confidence. She turned on the stereo, and the music filled the silent cabin with crisp, clear sound. She started to relax. The nervousness began to fade. It was replaced by a growing feeling of excitement and joy. She was not just driving a car, she was experiencing a new way to move. As the day ended, Kayla parked the Ioniq 5 in her driveway. She sat in the quiet for a moment. She thought about Pearl, her old Saturn. She was grateful for all the years and all the memories. That car had served her well. But this new car represented something else. It represented growth. It represented a new chapter filled with new possibilities and new adventures. She didn't know where this car would take her, but she knew she was ready to find out. Looking at the sleek silver car, she smiled. The future was quiet, and it was beautiful.